Hey guys, Saber here and welcome back to another new video. This time we're talking about Last Word Evolve Shadow. So, what is this deck? It uses some new tools from this expansion while also using the one only the good old Evolve package, Skeleton Raider, Cernos, and of course Susie. So, what does this deck try to do? So, it has a bunch of early chip damage available with cards like Coral Souls, Technically Undead Stampede, Spirit Invasion, Saber's Mimi, and Deathcap Reaper Last Word effects, and of course Krampus. So we just try to cycle through our deck, card like Goblin turn 1, or Ghost Hound, or Bellringer, or Cern, or Coral, or the new Hugin and Moonin, or Krampus, to just find our Skeleton Raider, while also evolving a bunch to reduce its cost with cards like Sun Evolve, Susie Invoke, once we get enough Necromancy, or Spirit Invasion, which gives us Necromancy, and it's also Involve and face damage. Let's go really quick card by card. So we play 3 Wayfaring Goblins. It's just good 1-drop, a 1-mana 1/1, which on turn 1 draws us a card, while also later on can heal us for 3 against some more aggressive matchups. Then we also play Ghost Hound. Ghost Hound is just there as a 1-mana 1/1 draw card, and he has Bane, which can be quite important in some matchups to get rid of some really big wards. Next up, we play Mino Daydreaming Reaper. She's a 1-mana 1/1 with the last word to gain 1 shadow. First of all, it doesn't sound that impressive, but getting shadows is quite important so we can activate our big necromancy effects. And also, once we get 5 allied last word cards destroyed, she gains +4/+4 on rush, so she herself can be a 1-mana 5/5 that helps us clear the board for our Storm boys to go through. Spirit Invasion, a 1-mana 1/1 Storm, and once you have 6 shadows, you can use the Necromancy effect to get a 1-mana 3/3 Storm, which is an evolve for your Raider. And of course, we play Bellringer Angel, just a good 2-mana 0/2 defensive tool against aggro, can draw a card, can actually draw 2 cards once we evolve it, and if she sticks on the board, she can deal quite a bit of damage once she is evolved and gets like 3 attack, and it's a fine card. Next up, we have Cern. Just a 2-mana 2/2 draw a card, and if you ever spend 20 Shadows for Necromancy, you get to reanimate stuff like Skeleton Raider. In this build of the deck, it's not very likely we don't play Flaming Death because we don't have best Necromancy activators, but getting to 10 Necromancy or 10 Shadows spent for Necromancy is possible. 20, a little on the harder side, but also on here, Evolve, she reanimates 4, you only play 1 4-cost follower, which is Susie, which, if she gets summoned by an effect, is an auto-evolve. Next up, we play Deathcap Reaper, a 2-mana 2/2, which can help us control the board, because you can pop one of your followers and destroy an enemy follower as well, which can then activate other last word effects, like the effect of Hugin and Moonin, or Guiding Bellringer Angel, and it itself is also a last word effect, which heals us for 1 and deals 1 damage to the enemy leader. Now we have Cerberus Infernal Hunt. She is not from the set, but basically from the last mini, I think. And she is Burial Rite and last word support, which may sound a little bit weird, but it's actually not. So she generates Mimi as well as Coco in your hand if you Burial Rite with her effect. But now comes the special part. If you have already 5 last word cards destroyed, she not generates these 2 in your hand, but summons them onto the board and gives herself and Mimi and Coco both Rush, which can then help us clear the board and proc their last word effects to deal 2 damage to the enemy leader and heal yourself by 2. And if you ever get to the point where you have 10 last word followers destroyed or 10 last word cards, they get Storm. Next up we play Coral Souls. It's a fine card. It's basically a slightly weaker version from the, I think, original 1 play point gold spell. It's destroyed an allied follower. You summon 2 ghosts, so it's 2 mana, 2/2 storm technically, which also draws 2 cards. Pretty good. Now we have our not last word card, but basically the last word card that you normally play. It's Hugin and Moonin. So basically a 3 mana 2/2 draw 2 cards, and once 5 allied cards with levels are destroyed, it's 3 mana 4/2 draw 2 cards. Pretty solid. And also they gain Rush once 5 allied last word cards are destroyed. So it can also help clear the board and draw deeper into our deck. See, we play a lot of card draw. Now, our almost final Necromancy activator in this is Undead Stampede. It's a more expensive version of Spirit Invasion, what's play point cost, and doesn't fuel our evolve count, but it's still fine damage. So it's a 3 mana 2/2 storm, which is fine. But once you have 6 shadows, you can use this necromancy effect to summon 2 zombies and give both of them storm. So it's a 3 mana 4/4 storm, and you can combine it with stuff like Susie Invoke to get a 3 mana 6 damage storm, which is pretty damn good. Now, of course, we play Susie. You could run 3. I think 2 is more fine because you don't really want to draw it, you want to invoke it, and you don't really need to invoke 3 copies of it. If you draw one, it's also fine. You can bury white 1 copy and then later reanimate it with Cern. But 2 feels just fine. 1 is too low. If you then draw the 1 copy of Susie, you feel really bad. Playing 2 feels just right. Next up, we are playing, of course, 3 Skeleton Raiders. It's basically the main win con of this deck. Basically, every time you evolve follower, while this card is in your hand, you reduce its cost by 1. You can get it down to technically a 0 cost, but most likely like 4 cost. Then you can drop it on the board. If the opponent plays board, you just nuke his board, deal shit ton of damage, and just win the game from there. And last but not least, we of course play Krampus, an 8 mana 4/4 with fanfare and last word, destroy a random enemy follower, draw a card, deal 1 damage to the enemy leader, gain 2 shadows. You will never play this card for its 8 mana cost unless it for some reason wins you the game, which is not very likely to happen. But instead you want to use its accelerate effect, because on accelerate 1, so for 1 little play point, it destroys an allied follower, draws you a card and deals 1 damage to the enemy leader, while also generating 2 shadows. So if you, for example, use this on like Guiding Bellringer, you get 4 shadows, draw a card and deal 1 damage, and draw a card because you cleared off your Guiding Bellringer. So why do you get 4 shadows? Well, the card itself gives you 2 shadows in its effect, but because you play the card, you also gain a shadow, and because Bellringer will be destroyed, she also generates a shadow. So when you play Krampus on Bellringer, you draw 2 cards, gain 4 shadows, and deal 1 damage. And then you can technically combine it with stuff like Spirit Invasion, because you might have played in Ghost Town on turn 1 and Bill rated something and then traded your Ghost Hound in. And on turn 2 you played Bellringer. You can basically generate a shit ton of shadows with Krampus. So that was a deck card by card, and now I will show you a few replays of this deck, and I hope you will enjoy the best and the worst of Last World Evolve Shadow.
恋つなぐため僕は来た。五色絢爛万家の鳳凰。 行くぞ。この場に雑魚は不要。幸せになるんだよ。幸せになるんだよ。どうせ横で仕事よ。帰るわ。ドラの出番ドラ。
ここは夕日、わらわの縄張り。
この地に浄化を。
眠れる竜は起こすなと言った。
お返しを。見た。有望魂発見です。発見です。一緒にやってあげますね。
尾びれに触るわ。連理の起源。あんたのことは
記憶しました。ドラー。
もう帰るよ。
礼はいらないぜ。
とどろけ、天井の果てまでも。その上を行く。
もっと敬うべきですが。
弱きはその上を行く。
定めるユーコン、冥界の門。引っかいてやるわ。やるなわ。
これでよし。
流水の全弱。目障り。
つまんない。
大切なるお友達。
その魂をかけよ。
私を超えるか。
おとりは嫌です。
恋つなぐため僕は来た。
人はくるみだ。金で割る。
休日労働お断りで。こっちだぞ。もう帰っていいですか。定めるユーコン、冥界の門。定めるユーコン、冥界の門。引っかいてやるわ。生まれた理由知らない。後悔はしたくないから。つまんない。噛んでやるわ。こっちだぞ。
許さない。歯車よ、因果に身をよじりなさい。
資格はあるか。
世界の限界を知りなさい。
有望魂発見です。
これでよし。
連理の起源。後へ戻る道はない。
言い過ぎた。
悲劇の歯車など 鉄くずにしてやる。鬱陶しいね。美しくとも悲劇は葬る。
我に駆られを誉れと思い、
その魂をかけよ。
流水の全弱。
育むものとなれ。発見です。一緒にやってあげますね。
もう帰るよ。
一緒にやってあげますね。礼はいらにゃいぜ。よいよい。礼はいらにゃいぜ。ブースタースターゲイザー、星の先へ。
イラつかせてくれるな。
オメテクトルエクシーダー。有望発見です。
もう帰るよ。
破損申告戻るね。どうせ汚れ仕事よ。お返しを。
なんて恋。恋つなぐため僕は来た。神はいない。私が救う。
長女発見。行くぞ。
見定めた。
幸せを届け。リンゴーン。輝け。こっちだぞ。
許さない。
休日労働お断りで。もう帰っていいですか。一緒にやってあげますね。こっちだぞ。礼はいらにゃいぜ。
連理の起源。
サファイアに祈りよ。我が身は思考。永遠の輝き。
救済を受け入れよ。
聖なるサファイアよ。眩しいでしょ。
これでよし。
一緒にやってあげますね。力を及ばす。
流水の全弱。
一組ご案内。まあまあね。さあご注目。さあご注目。礼はいらにゃいぜ。大切なお友達。
僕と愛を。
その魂をかけよ。
おひねりどうも。
神などいない。恋つなぐため僕は来た。
この層が私のものだ。
長女発見。行くぞ。
ほう。
定めるユーコン冥界の門。
その魂をかけよ。悪しき旋律を従え。ほう。
幸せを届けリンゴー。一回でやるわ。
ほう。
でもでも
ほうほう。
やられたわ。噛んでやるわ。
でも
休日労働お断りで。
闇夜の宴に血潮は踊る。
耐えてみせろ。
マッピーちゃんも混ぜなさい。やるなわ。幸せになるんだよ。
もう帰っていいですか？
行け。
有望魂発見です。
レンリの起源。
あんたのことは
記憶しました。
もう帰るよ。大切なお友達。
ほう。ほう。
もう帰るよ。
かき鳴らせ悪魔の命音。
行け。
大切なお友達。
長女発見。行くぞ。
流水の全弱。
その魂をかけよ。切り裂く。切り裂く。切り裂く。切り裂く。
でもでも
金色の夜落ちよ。古きここに日よ。
悔いはない。
どうせ汚れ仕事よ。定めるユーコン冥界の門。長女発見。行くぞ。一回でやるわ。やられたわ。
でも これでよし。
今宵ここまで。
ほう。面白い。
恋つなぐため僕は来た。
虚構真実どちらがお好み？私は誰？一緒にやってあげますにゃ。
恋の始まり。
幸せを届けリンゴー。こっちだぞ。
許さない。私の力をカードに込める。
有望魂発見です。
休日労働お断りで。
お行きなさい。
カード起動。
どうせ汚れ仕事よ。幸せを届けリンゴー。
レンリの起源。
あんたのことは
記憶しました。
ルリン、ミラクルドッパー、怪異の頭、ミラクルのデストロイ。
これでよし。
一緒にやってあげますにゃ。
炎、雷、センス
礼はいらにゃいぜ。息づく霊人。
水魔法もう古くね。
幸せになるんだよ。
我に体を誉れと思え。汚れ仕事よ。もう帰っていいですか。
有望魂発見です。発見です。
もう帰るよ。もう帰るよ。
定めるユーコン、冥界の門、幸せを届け。リンゴ鍛えてやるわ。
流水の全弱。
育むものとなれ。汚れ仕事よ。
流行りは巡る。書き上がった。
五行の極み、拝んで消えな。
やるのは
牙の獣、グレンの炎。
長女発見。行くぞ。
大切なお友達、大切なお友達。
その魂をかけよ。
なんて恋。